And we are back for Game 3 of 3 in the cLoL, hosted by Collegiate Star League. I'm joined again with my co-caster, Daniel. How's it going, man?
Yep, it's going really well, man. We saw an awesome first two games. Saints Gaming, they took a little bit in game number 1 just to kind of warm up, see exactly what they want to play, and they started to realize that they need to start focusing towards that bot side, and this is when we start to really see them pop off. So hopefully we get to see them here in game number 3 pop off, or, I don't know, maybe University of Toronto has something up their sleeve.
Yeah, I definitely think they played that well ever since Champ Select. We saw so many good picks. We saw the Nunu. We saw the Poppy. The Poppy just shut down the entire team. That's what made it so hard for them to get back to the back line.
Exactly.
And then you could just see that they were just playing so well off of each other throughout the entire game.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think they're going to keep that up in the third game?
I think that Poppy is a huge priority. I don't know if Toronto's just going to ban it. I think that's definitely an option. But, Lord, I feel like he has a couple of champions underneath his belt, right? It's just not just the Poppy. Poppy, in a meta like this one, isn't even that good. Like, she is, but, like, there's way better top laners out there. And if Lord can do something like that on a Poppy, what can he do on something like an Irelia?
Yeah, I completely agree. I think Poppy definitely was more of a niche pick there. We saw like the amount of engage and like dashes that they have like through the Lee Sin, through the Camille, the Kaisa. So I definitely think in that situation was really good and they executed it really well. And getting into Champ Select for Game 3, we have St. Clair taking away the Gragas for a third time. Thoughts?
Yeah, in game 3, you have 2 games to kind of flesh out what your comp is going to be. Now in game number 3 is where you really have to try and learn literally from everything that you've done so far and start to apply all of the strats that you've learned super fast on both sides. That was
look at this.
Good.
They were ready for it. They're giving them no time at all. Once again, we see the Pantheon, the Kiana, and the Yuumi band as well. Seems like both teams feel pretty comfortable with what they've been doing so far. However, banning the Gangplank, they definitely do not want to see that. Maybe that means that they want to do something like Kled again?
Yeah, that's definitely a huge possibility. I do like how Toronto Mississauga is banning out Apex. Not a huge fan of the Yuumi ban because Yuumi isn't all that great right now, so I don't even think they would really want to pick that. Definitely the Swain. Swain is definitely a good ban, but the Kaisa has a first pick. Yeah, Kaisa, that's huge.
Yeah, they're really comfortable on that Kaisa, it seems like. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they're taking it away this time?
Yeah. So, and Xayah is being taken away from Blins. So.
All right. Now, keep in mind, Thresh is still up. We saw Apex last game with the Thresh. Xayah Rakan, I mean, I can't really think of a more meant-for-each-other duo bot lane than that.
I mean, Kaisa Nautilus.
True.
Kaisa Leona is also really good. I love that duo. There you go.
Yeah, kind of counters the Rakan engage there as well. And now
we've been seeing a lot of Leona Ashe coming together, and obviously Kaisa is still going bot lane, but Leona coming back into the meta because of the engage supports are really huge right now. Leona as a tank is usually a backup to the Nautilus, but still, Leona is still absolutely amazing as a champion. I believe, and I'm not too sure about this one, Kaisa can ult off Leona E because it CCs. So I definitely think that Kaisa has a possibility off of that. The Leona ultimate is still there. The Leona Q, the stun, is still there. So that's definitely a huge possibility. The Syndra coming through, you pointed very quickly over to that because Syndra, really good. Young Falcon actually played really well on it, but we're seeing kind of a swap from game number 1. Young Falcon played Orianna in game number 1, and Perks Fanboy played the Syndra in game 1. So now we get to see the switch.
Yeah, so now we get to see who plays which champion better. We saw Perks Fanboy in game number 1 performing extremely well on Syndra, almost taking the Young Falcon out of the entire game. And now we kind of get to see if they're going to be able to do the same thing. We don't know what the jungle situation is looking like just yet, and I think that's going to be a huge influence on how both of these teams do in the early game.
Yeah, and I also think that these bans, even to reference that, let me just give me anxiety. These second phase bans are going to be heavily jungle focused because we can already see the Jarvan and the Lee Sin coming through here. So I think that it's going to be another jungler on both sides. Can definitely be the Elise, can be the Gragas from what we've seen. The Nunu coming through. Active Force just absolutely played that perfectly. Completely banning out Active Force's at least 2 game champion pool. I want to see what he can pull out here in Game 3.
We're going to be forced to see something that we haven't seen quite yet here. I definitely like the Lee Sin ban here. I think that Alk has done a really good job for definitely in Game 1. I think he did a pretty good job in Game 2, but he wasn't able to get as much of a lead as he would have liked. Yeah, so that's going to be a way. And they're also going to ban the Kazakhs as well. So there's definitely a lot of priority in the jungle on the second half.
Could be a Rek'Sai, could be an Elise, whatever you really want. But they're gonna save that for the last pick. Hear me out, Mundo is what they could potentially pick. If he's really good on tanks, the next best tank jungler is probably Mundo right now. So I don't know if he wants to go for something a little bit more meta or if he wants to go for something a little bit more tanky. We're going to have to see what they end up picking. They also have to pick up a top laner here. So all of these different possibilities. The only thing that I see at Toronto that's a little bit of a mistake is they picked the solo lane right now. They could have picked the jungler right here, had huge jungle priority, and thrown that up towards the top side. Kayn.
Kayn. See, the thing about Kayn, it's very, very flexible, right? You can make him tank, you can make him engage, you can also make him an assassin. It all really depends on what they want to do here. Looking at the side of Toronto here, you got Orianna, you got Vladimir, you got Zaya, you got Rakan. You have a lot of ranged champions here. So there's definitely a lot of opportunity for us to see Blue Kayn and go Shadow Assassin. And lock in the Shen as well for that added protection on the Kayn like we were just talking about. It's going to be really interesting to see what they try to do with it.
The only time that Blue Kayn actually works is when you have like 5 kills by 10 minutes or something crazy, or even 15 minutes. That could be an absolutely crazy scenario. But usually if Kayn's just like to take it a little bit more passive, they can go the demon form. They can have a lot of sustain with the ultimate if they want to get into the middle of a couple of people. The one thing that you can also do on Kayn is go into the wall and also press W for a couple of man knockup, and no one can see him. So he has all of these possibilities here on this champion if he really wants to kind of play towards that mid to late game. And I think this is what synergizes with this champion, is that Shen at level 6, that's when he finally becomes a champion. Kai'Sa, once she gets around 2 or 3 items, that's when she finally becomes a champion. And Kayn around that point is finally when he becomes something. So we're going to have to watch out for that. The Syndra loves to pop off here in the early games. Hopefully the young Falcon can try and carry up this early game in that regard. But I do love picking the Leona with the Kai'Sa, because that's in that case, level 6 Kai'Sa can be just that much stronger.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And something to address as well, we see, as a Kayn player myself, Kayn usually thrives, especially if he does go Shadow Assassin, he thrives going into these champions like Orianna and like all these squishy champions. But they have a lot of protection. They have Vlad's pool. They have Zaya. They have Rakan as well to CC. So he's going to have a hard time if he does decide to go that Shadow Assassin row. However, that being said, that would make him more likely to go Rost, right? And that's a very, very good counter for Hecarim Engage as well.
Yeah, there's so many possibilities for this Kayn to go right now. We actually didn't touch on the Hecarim getting picked there, which is, it's going to be super, super cool to watch how that really comes into fruition. We have a little bit of time though, so hopefully we can try and go over some of these comps. If we can pull that up really quickly and see who exactly is playing what, and we can see what synergizes with what champions. So we can see that coming out here. Let's quickly touch, my bad, on Saints Gaming. So what we see here is a really nice pick comp. I'm a huge fan of their pick comp because of the different single target champions they have, right? The Kayn, ultimately, he wants to try and find one person in the enemy jungle and try and catch that person out, as well as Syndra with the orb with her different spheres. Let's see what she can get, as well as the Kai'Sa can usually ult on one target, usually the target that Leona loves to go on. So overall, this team has come together to have a really nice pick into objective or pick into team fight comp.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I definitely think, like you said, St. Clair, like they have really excellent pick potential. And then you got Toronto Mississauga. They have a lot of good team fight, and they also have a lot of good safety for that pick. So I definitely think it's just going to come down to which team can play to their win condition better. Because both teams have a win condition. They have a pretty good one. We can do it better.
Yeah, let's see what happens. But we have about 1 minute, so we can actually quickly touch on the other team. We get on Toronto Mississauga. We'll see what exactly they have coming out here. I do like the Vladimir going into the top lane. It's definitely a huge sustained member, and they ended up picking the Shen into that. I don't think Shen really counters Vladimir. They kind of just both sustain into each other. Vladimir is going to try and dominate this lane as best as possible. I do think that Shen is a little bit better than some, or I don't know. It's kind of arguable.
He's got a lot of more global presence, right?
It's really nice. And Hecarim not taking the Ghost here instead of taking the Ignite means that this guy wants to be very aggressive on a champion like Hecarim. Yeah. Usually you see him take the Ghost instead of the Ignite, so it's going to be a little bit different. I like how Orion is playing this a little bit more passive, because Perks fanboy showing, kind of showing respect, right? And taking,
especially after the last game.
Exactly. Taking the cleanse here is going to be really good. And also Zion Rakam, we kind of already touched on that in the pick phase itself, but they play together really nicely. So overall, I love their team fight comp. It's a very simple style of a comp. Oriana ball goes in, and we'll see what can come out of that.
I definitely can see this game going to a pretty long time as well, because look at these teams. We have Kai'Sa, Syndra, Shen, Vlad, Ori, Zai. A lot of these champions want to scale and don't really have that much kill potential, aside from maybe the Hecarim, right? But with taking the Ignite as well. They don't really have too much kill potential. They certainly have some, but this is definitely going to be a lot of farming game. And like we touched on in game 1, for champions like Vladimir in the top lane to the Shen, if you're not losing, you're winning.
That was the quote of the day. If you're not losing, you're winning. So we finally get to jump into this one. Game number 3, we'll see who exactly can come out victorious. We saw beautiful games played by both of these teams, and we'll see who's going to take this one at the end of the day. It's been very, very close. In game 1, it was very decisive for Toronto Mississauga. In game number 2, it was very decisive for St. Clair. So now game 3 is when both of these teams, they got to get their stuff together.
Yeah, exactly. And I wonder if we're going to see another blow like game 1, game 2, or if we're going to see something that's a little more even match, maybe base race. I personally love base races. They don't happen that often, but one could dream, you know what I mean? In this game, we see both teams going for the 5-man. They got the line of scrimmage going. Previous game, we saw a little bit of a level 1 fight around the top side red buff there, but yeah, teams are both just gonna respect each other this time. They don't want any shenanigans like last game.
Yeah, I love watching these teams kind of duke it out, because in game number 1, it's okay, 5-point start. We're all very nervous, right? In game number 2, all right, we have a little bit more confidence. Game number 3, 5-point again. So this is match point, right? They don't really want to. I don't want to say waste, but they don't want to play 3 hours of League of Legends and not get anything from that. So a win would definitely help the boys in blue. We'll see if that can help them out. But yeah, just very basic jungle starts coming through. I do like how. I don't know how to pronounce this guy's name, the jungler of Toronto Mississauga, but Alshizer? Alkashizer?
You know what? I thought it was Alkizer, but I could see Alshizer.
Yeah.
I could see, I don't know.
German. Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
I like how he's starting topside alone. He doesn't get the leash. And both of these side lanes, they're doing kind of a little weird thing where they both show up late to lane, so they kind of show the enemy where did he start? We have no idea where he ended up starting.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really give it away. I love how Kayn can definitely clear a lot better though. So Active Forest, instead of playing the Jarvan, plays the Kayn, and he usually actually starts Raptor Camp alone, and he can then transition into Retta, into Krugs, but now he's just going to take the Krugs probably into Raptors, and it doesn't really change anything, right?
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think that Kayn's definitely going to be trying to do a lot of wave clearing, or not necessarily wave clearing here, but jungle clearing. That being said, as we saw in game 1 here, Hecarim, no leash on the top side.
Yeah.
Fake leash bot, and we saw the Vladimir and the Shen kind of dancing with each other in the river there. So, but look at this, he's gonna go all in level 2 here, try to chunk down Vladimir, get a lot of damage, but Vladimir is gonna get a little bit of sustain here. And we talked about earlier how we were wondering if Kayn was going to be going Rost or
he's going Rost.
Yeah,
He's got the
we can see
Conqueror.
that now.
He's got the Conqueror. So yeah, you did not take the Electrocute. The only time you actually take Electrocute is obviously when you're going Blue Kayn, and the only time you go Blue Kayn is when it's good, and it's not. So
yeah, and if you're really confident you can take Dark Harvest, Electrocute being a little bit more flexible, but Conquer, you're not going Blue Kayn.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not happening.
Yeah, you want a little bit of a scaling comp at that. You can see actually how he ended up tracking the at least the question mark pings were going down from Hecarim into Kayn's blue side jungle, so they know exactly where he is and where he's going to be going.
I like to see a little bit of a bot gank right here. I think that's in a pretty good spot, to be quite honest. Hecarim, like, look, they got no vision. They have no vision in jungle there. If he just paths down, he could go for a setup with Rakan. But
the only problem is that they don't have any ward pressure, and they also don't have any, or like at least the wave is way too big for that bot lane. So they don't really want to lose anything too big.
Oh, he's actually going to be looking mid right now. He's hovering around right now, but he's just gonna back off by looks of it. Yep, excellent stun by Young Falcon, but he's gonna be low on mana and have to recall. Yeah,
Young Falcon in game 1 was very vulnerable to ganks and ended up actually getting first blood around this time.
Yep.
So it's really good that he was fully aware of how the enemy jungler plays, and that's usually what you try and do in game number 1. You try and see what the enemy jungler's playstyle is, you try and see what the enemy mid laner's playstyle is, and usually after 2 games, you kind of know exactly where he's going to go. So Hecarim was very obviously going to try and gank up this mid lane, so it's really good that Young Falcon was able to predict that and know exactly where the enemy jungler was.
Yeah, and another thing, we talked about how Kane wanted to be going Ross this game. Look at the lanes. We have Vlad top, that's ranged. We have Ori, Xayah, Rakan. I believe, is Rakan considered a melee champion?
No, he's ranged.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. So he is ranged. So that being said, it's going to be really hard for him to get the orbs that he wants. He's going to have to look for a lot of skirmishes. So that being said, I would imagine that he's going to need Syndra to roam, just like we saw in game 1 and 2. He's going to need a lot of help because he's going to need to fight Hecarim. I mean, he loses that level 1.
Yeah. From what we've clearly been seeing, this Hecarim really wants to be aggressive in the jungle, and he hasn't really gotten the opportunity just yet to do anything too crazy. We're kind of waiting for seeing Clair's power spikes to come through, and I know that it's early game and you can't really start talking about power spikes, but usually what we see out of Kai'Sa at least is around 6 or level 6, level 7, level 8. Is she loves to get the pickaxe in the mid lane though.
Look at the minion wave as well. Young Falcon going to get a lot of damage on the perks, but not as much as he would have liked. He had a huge minion wave there. Could have got a lot more damage.
I think you also need to act aggressive once you hit the level 6. He wasn't really level 6 just yet, right? So he was level 5, kind of getting a little bit ahead of himself. He also already went back to base and got himself a mana crystal. So he's going to have to go back to base very soon at that. Also, Orianna doing the exact same thing getting
with double Dorans and
I know Dorans.
Mana regeneration as well.
It's super good.
Seems like it's going to be a battle of wave clearing mid.
Exactly. Nothing too much to note on here in this match. Just kind of a stalemate going into both of these lanes. The only thing we can kind of see is a bot lane CS lead, but Xayah slowly catching back up.
Yeah, exactly. Not too much action. We saw in game 2 a ton of action by now. There was like, what, 4 kills by this time? It was absolutely crazy. And now we're starting to see our first little confrontation.
I like this.
Active Force, but keep in mind, Alkazar has a Ignite. He's going to be procking Conquer on Active Force, but he's going to back off.
Here we go. We're starting to see what the Kayn and the Hecarim can do versus each other, and it's a nice little stalemate. What's really good is that Kayn clears a lot faster than Hecarim does. So we've been seeing Kayn just go wherever he really needs to, right? Which camp is spawning next? I'm going to go right there. I need my level 6. I need my next Kayn form. So we need to start to get around to some of these lanes. What's really good is he's actually going into the enemy jungle here. Because if he really wants to, he can try and look in this jungle.
He thought that he started blue.
Yeah, and go kind of in the tri-bush in the bot lane. And maybe try and Kayn through the wall. And it's looking like this is kind of what he wants to do. No, he just wants to take the boss gun. That's fine.
Yeah, he's wasting a little bit of time. He got some vision now, but now he knows that Hecarim did not start bot. He knows that his red is up, so he's probably assuming Hecarim's up there right now. Just gonna back off to his red camp. That being said, Kayn, excuse me, is actually really, really bad at taking early dragons, let alone Earth Drake. Because Earth Drake is like the tankiest of all Drakes as we know, and so he's definitely going to need a lot of help if he wants to try to get that.
What I was going to say is that he's not really wasting time by going into the enemy jungle and just getting the vision, because he sees when exactly Wolves is going to spawn, and he sees when Gromp is going to spawn, and he knows that Hecarim's in his topside jungle. So that you can immediately see how Syndra is playing because of that. She immediately just got the wave pushed in onto her, and it just needs to play right beside her tower. Not really any plates going down, as well as Shen playing towards his tower, because they know that Hecarim was topside jungle, and since they saw that Hecarim was bot side because of that ward, they know they're just tracking this jungler absolutely perfectly.
Yep, exactly. Could not agree more. And we see both teams starting to get their ultimates back. So yeah, they see the Hecarim. You're absolutely right. And so now they know, okay, well, he's there. Bottom lane's not a lane. They're going to try to get a little bit more vision priority around this Drake, because I think both teams, 8 minutes into the game, Drake's still up. So they're going to try to get something here. Blitten's being a little bit aggressive here, trying to hit Ash Ketchum. They know the blue buff is up in that bush, very healthy. They might try to team fight over this.
Yeah, they could definitely team fight if they really want to. Apex Snipes not actually having level 6 just yet. They're going to go going in here.
He's actually giving that to Syndra there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really well played. Zone the Hecarim out of the buff really well and just giving it to Syndra. I think that's definitely a lot more valuable than giving it to Act Force here. They're going to go on to the Earth Drake.
I had to study a lot of LCK VODs because I wanted to see how SKT was doing, and it looks like St. Clair are playing that game, but engage.
Second, they got the TP coming in as well. Hecarim ulting into the pit as well. Hecarim getting really low. Syndra's going to get first blood on the Hecarim, and that's no smite available. But Perks Fanboy is going to slay Young Falcon as well here, and flashing over the pit to try to get Act Force.
Oh, he stole it! Let's go!
Dragon, but at the cost of his own life. Leona getting the ult on Vladimir as well. Lord is trying to get out, locks the E Vladimir onto Apex. He's going to try to get it. He's going to get Vladimir. Vladimir's going to fall, and they are out. 2 for 2 trade, as well as first blood and the Earth Drake over to St. Clair College.
Super good by the Shen coming down into the ball lane, as well as the Vladimir going towards the Proto Bell. We were talking about how Vladimir loves to go Spellbinder, but now we get to look at the gold lead. The top lane is the same. Jungle is just a couple hundred, right? Nothing too crazy. We're starting to see a little bit more of a lead coming through for the Kai'Sa as well in the mid lane. Even though the Syndra does have 1 kill underneath her belt, it's a very even game. So it's really nice to see both of these teams coming through. And even in the gold lead, it's only a 100 gold. Only 100 gold lead.
Falcon, a little far out here.
Yeah, but the
Hecarim's going to go in, but doesn't know that Kayn was nearby, and now Alkir's going to fall to Young Falcon once again. That's huge. We see the Rift Herald coming up now. I wonder if they're going to do lane swap.
Yeah, the Shen also making his rotation down because he ended up shoving up that top lane. And they also reset the blue buff on Young Falcon, which is just so good as a mid laner, as you know. When you get blue buff, it feels so good.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And now that the Drake is freshly gone, like not just about a minute ago now, I really would like to see kind of some prioritizing around the Rift Herald, because there's nothing else to go on ball lane. You have Shen that just blue TP to lane, but he's going to have his ult soon, so.
Yeah. We'll see how that all pans out. From what we've known so far, St. Clair are really good at getting objectives. They're playing a huge objective game from what we've seen in game 2 and 3. Is they're the first ones on an objective, and they're the ones securing it. No matter how they do it, they're really good at doing so. So now Kane's kind of looking towards this top side to get heavy priority. Even though he is clearing his bot side, he really wants to take full-on control of that Herald if he can do so. 10 minutes is usually when Herald spawns, and from what we've seen so far, Hecarim just trying to get control. You see 3 pinks going down in that topside river.
Yeah, they're definitely doing a great job getting a lot of vision control, but look at this. He's sweeping that bush right near Young Falcon. He might potentially try to look for a dive.
Yeah, in the last team fight, Orianna actually whiffing the ultimate.
Yeah.
Which is not good, so it kind of tells you that Perks Fanboy is not proficient on this champion. They're kind of just
look at this. He's going up here. Lord going for the pink ward. Alk is going to go in as well.
Yeah.
Ulting onto the Shen, and I don't see Shen get out of this one. Oh, wait a second. He's got the Vladimir. Oh, it's ticking. He pops the stopwatch, take that damage, but that's just going to delay the inevitable, and Alkaiser is going to get the kill of more touchman.
And I think it's good that you ended up giving it over to the Hecarim. At least if you're in the eyes of Shen, give it over to the Hecarim, because a jungler that was 0 and 2 now gets a gold reset. We get to see how Kayn interrupts this matchup.
I don't see him getting a kill here. I think he just wanted to clear the way, but look at this. He's ulting. He's not coming out right away.
Oh, he wants to go in.
He's going to try to get the kill, but 1-3-2, excuse me, is going to pick up the kill on Kayn. I'm not quite sure about that one, Daniel.
No, if he had his evolved Kayn form, then definitely. And I think the only way that this actually becomes worth it is if he ended up getting his Kayn form off of that. So if he gets the darkened form off of that very small engage, then that was really good. And I think that's why he ended up going ultimately onto Hecarim. The more damage that you do to melee, you end up getting your demon form just that much faster. And Kayn going back to base, getting the warrior enchant just means that he wants to go full on darken. It's really good. It's really cool.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
Oh, there it is. He has transformed. We have a champion now.
It's worth.
Worth? I don't know. Well, that's debatable. But honestly, as a Kayn player myself, I find myself in that situation a lot where my orb bar will be like almost full. I just want a little bit more damage, so I end up going for those greedy. Yeah, and then in my mind, I'll be like, all right, Worth, I'm transformed, fine.
Exactly.
But in the grand scheme of things, only time will tell. You see a little bit of a CS lead in favor of the Kayn, but that being said, Hecarim has 4 kill participations. He's not that far behind him whatsoever.
No, he's not. And The one thing that's kind of his downfall is he didn't end up getting boots.
Yeah.
Usually what we also see out of Hecarim players is they end up taking the Predator over the Conqueror sometimes, just to try and get the boots in the early game so that you can have a lot more pressure, especially when you're taking something like Ignite. You usually want a little bit more pressure with that. But like we were saying earlier, St. Clair definitely wants this topside priority, and they're going to slowly start to get it. Hopefully we can see a gank go down onto the mid lane from this Kayn player. Haven't seen it just yet, but we need to see him now do something. Now that he has his form, he needs to get out of the mindset of I need to start clearing into I need to start ganking.
Yep, you're absolutely right, and I could not agree more. We see this dragon coming up here. It looks like he's working his way down there, but Cinder just timing a recall a little bit odd there. She's gonna have to rush back to lane. Like they don't know where Xayah is. They don't know where Khan is. They don't know where Hecarim is. They could, for all they know, be on the Drake waiting for it to spawn right now. So it's a little bit odd timing. They're gonna go to it now, but that gives Cinder a little bit of time to get back. But now Kayn's in base. Yeah,
it was a little bit of bad back timings coming in from St. Clair. This is the one thing that they kind of struggled with. Apex kind of looking for the engage though.
And Hecarim's just gonna take that and be like, all right, we take those. He's gonna take the Earth Drake, matching the Earth Drake total 1-to-1 for each team. We got ourselves a game.
Yeah, it's a little bit weird that Kayn ended up, clearing his topside dragon, or topside jungle, my bad. Topside jungle, and then going back to base. He could have cleared his bot side jungle and then transitioned that into a dragon themselves.
Yeah, it looks like that both teams right now are going to be looking for something in the bottom lane right now. And Activeforce is going to be clearing that ward, and that's Orianna and Hecarim's Q. They're making a little more progress down there. Look at Activeforce is up the river. Hecarim's going to charge in here, and Rakan's going to go in as well. Charm, amazing shockwave onto Blinn, and Blinn is going to fall. Leona's going to try to get out, but not so fast. Ami Shield's going to slay Apex Snipe there. And look at this, Kayn's trying to get some return damage here. He's going to end up, I'm not sure if he had to flash out there, but better safe than sorry. That's going to be a 2-for-0 in fade for Toronto Mississauga, as well as the bottom turret.
Yeah, definitely a really good gank into this bot lane. Kayn really tried to prioritize this lane as well. But the Orianna very simply just ended up pushing out that mid lane, tried to rotate, and saw what they could capitalize on in the bot lane. And that meant first tower, as well as really nice kill, at least one kill, going down onto the Xayah. Even the Orianna netting a kill for herself just allowed her to get the boots as well as finish up the Loon's Echo.
Yep, I completely agree. Looking into this now, we see approximate 2.5K gold lead in favor of University of Toronto Mississauga. We mentioned before how both teams are trying to scale here. That being said, do you think that there's a situation here where one team must scale the other?
Looking at both of these sides, it's honestly like, it seems very even. Like, it really does. And that's why I kind of attest this early game to a lot of these junglers, is because they need to start to snowball ahead. As we both know, the Orianna-Syndra matchup is a skill matchup. Even though Orianna pushes in the Syndra early game, it eventually gets to the point where you're kind of asking yourself, is Orianna in the position to act aggressive or act passive? And that's what we need to look for within the snowballs. As well in the top lane, I think that Vladimir is just a little bit better at scaling than Shen is, but they both have different kits.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. It's like who scales better at what?
Exactly. And even in these jungle matchups, but
it seems like we have a TB coming from Lord Touch. He's going to try to go in, but look at Activeforce getting chunked down by the Xayah. As well, we got ourselves a fight over the Rift Herald here. Look, we got a teleport come in. Oh, Leona engage onto the Orianna. Orianna's going to force cleanse here. He's still alive. He gets the shockwave, lands it on one person. But Alkazer is going to slay Apex, snipe it back. Young Falcon, Ami going off in the back as well. Young Falcon's going to have to flash out, and there's still more fights going on here. Blinn's just trying to run away from Vladimir. Vladimir ults, he's going to pop Blinn, and that is going to be, oh my goodness, 1-3-2 from Vlad, giving them the 1-2-3 on the game. And that's going to be Rift Herald in favor of University of Toronto Mississauga.
Yeah, that's going to go down super fast. An amazing team fight at that being played by Toronto Mississauga. Absolutely amazing positioning, and I like how they're kind of splitting up this team now. Some people on the Herald and some members on the mid lane tower itself. So
gonna take it?
Yeah. Someone needs to take it, and I think it's going to be Hecarim. Also in the mid lane, you can see the Orianna just slowly trying to push that one out before going back to base. Even though you're on low mana and kind of low health. You still have the Vladimir right next to you.
And now that Hecarim has the Rift Herald buff, what do you expect, or what do you want University of Toronto Mississauga to do here with that? Because they obviously got to use that somehow. What's the best way for them to get the most out of the Rift Herald?
If they can, like best case scenario is usually getting a pick into a tier 2 tower. That's absolutely best case. Other than that, the top lane tower is gonna fall very, very soon. Dragon's coming up in just a couple of seconds. Both teams already have mountain dragons, so that's just really, really good objective control in terms of that. So we'll see what dragon ends up spawning next. We'll hopefully see just a couple of seconds.
Exactly. So really, really good analysis there. That being said, it looks like they're sending Vladimir into the bottom lane to match the Shen push. As expected, right now we got Kai'Sa and Leona up on the top side. But you have an Earth, or
you can't even see.
You can't. I guess we'll never know. But yeah.
Spectator bug.
Mountain, air. I don't know. We'll see. But
it's ocean.
There is a dragon. Oh, it is an ocean drake. Okay, so we do have Ocean Drake coming up very soon. So I would have actually liked to see Shen go into the top lane. We see that he has his ultimate available here, and once again, it seems like they're just not giving that much priority over the Drakes.
Definitely could have done that, but when you're facing someone like a Vladimir and when he's so far ahead, you have to do top lane versus top lane match. You can't have your bot lane matching up against a Vladimir because Vladimir can easily 1v2.
Yeah, especially look at just how fed he is. Look at the build of Shen. He's got all the magic assists as well.
Yeah, it's definitely unfortunate when you can't be that aggressive top lane. Syndra gonna get out, which is really good. You see the Mia pings going down into the mid lane. What do these guys do?
It almost seems like the map is split down the mid lane right now. You got all the red team on the bottom half, all the blue team on the top half. So
yep.
Getting really close to 20 minutes here. We got Baron spawning very shortly. I don't expect any team to be contesting this anytime soon. I think both teams would probably want to look for a fight or a pick here. But look at this. Onto the Orianna. Activeforce going to chilling smite. Orianna missed the W.
Yoshi can 1v3.
Apex Snipe is tanking turret. He's going to end up falling to the turret. Oh, or does he? Shen, yes, he does. Perks is going to get the kill, canceling the Shen ultimate, and they might look for more. Blend walking out with low HP.
Yeah, definitely with low HP at the end of that one. Xayah also ends up getting CC just a little bit, and they immediately turn their attention onto the Baron buff. They already, again, they've got the Mountain Dragon. They have a little bit of healing coming in from the Ocean Dragon. They can definitely tank this one through Hecarim, as well as even the Rakan can definitely get into this one.
Look at the rest of the map. No one's around to respond to that. They might look for something on Vladimir here,
weird.
But I don't know.
Yeah, I definitely find that actually a little bit weird that it was uncontested.
Oh, Syndra gonna whiff free. They're getting the stun, and then they end up trading 1-for-1. 1v3, 1-for-1. That's got to be in favor of Vladimir, of course. Like if you're dedicating people to that kill, you got to make sure it's a 1-for-0.
Yeah, well, not even 3 members. You see the Kayn, Shen was also down there, and you also see that Kai'Sa and Leona were both down there in the bot lane. You were asking me about best case scenario. This is even a better scenario because they ended up getting Baron, a couple of picks, and maybe even an inhibitor tower.
Yeah, it looks like that's probably going to fall here. Shelly's going to be charging in, chunking that turret down. Got Baron buff. Leona's going to go for an ultimate here. Syndra's not alive yet. You got to be careful. Rakan's going to go in, stun Leona, and Leona's going to fall. Or does she? Hecarim going to finish off Leona right there. There we go. But look, they want more. They're going to be going on to Lord Touch Me, and the Kane's going to fall as well. Double kill for the Orianna. It's going to be up to Blinn and the young Falcon to clear this out. It looks like they don't want more than that. They'll settle for a couple of turrets and a couple of kills, as well as an inhibitor, and they're going to retreat to the base.
It seems like every single one of these games was a complete stomp, and we're seeing just another one here. 14-4 with an 8K gold lead. That's absolutely insane coming through for Toronto Mississauga. These guys are popping up.
Yeah, just look at how fed that Orianna is right now. 5-0-6. She has 2 items complete with her boost. She's going with Zhonya's just to make her even more unkillable, I would imagine, with the stopwatch and the Phoenix Codex. But look at the bounty on her as well. 500 there, 300 for Hecarim. There definitely is an out here. They're down 8K gold. They have a Mountain Drake for themselves here, but it's going to be tough.
Yeah, it's going to be really, really hard to come back in this one. From what we've seen so far, Toronto Mississauga, they know exactly where to go. They know where to prioritize. Dragon not coming up for just a couple of minutes, so they don't have to worry about that all that much. Yeah, it's going to be just a minute 45 before Infernal comes back up. But now you get to try and look at 2 of these lanes. Prioritize the mid lane, prioritize the bot lane. It could be really good. for
Look at this.
yourselves.
You see St. Clair here. They're trying to farm their way back into the game. You see Kane, like Shen, they're trying to farm up, get as much assists as they can. And University of Toronto, Mississauga, they're just not giving them anything. They're right back mid lane with that Baron buff. They're trying to get those turrets. They're not giving them a second to relax because they realize they have this lead and they're just trying to snowball as much as they can. Oriana whipping the shockwave. That might be actually their chance here.
Yeah.
Falcon gonna land the stun on the Rakan, but that's not exactly the ideal target here.
Yeah.
Active Force, however,
that's a lot of burst, man.
on Ami. The Shen ultimate coming in as well. Rakan and Hecarim coming in. And then Zaya's going to be stunned. They might be able to get a little bit of damage here. But look at this. Hecarim is doing so much damage. Ami Shield's going to kill Active Force. Syndra killing Hecarim. But that being said, that's not enough of a trade. Everyone on St. Clair is falling. Except for Lloyd. He's going to come out. Oh, wow. 1-3-2 is not over. Yeah, he's going to chase the Shen into the base, splashing over the wall, getting as much damage as he possibly can, getting 1 HP, and that's going to be enough for the ace. Game 3 of 3, and the series going over to University of Toronto, Mississauga.
19-5 at 23 minutes into the game of game number 3 of this best of 3. The University of Toronto, Mississauga take the series 2-1. St. Clair, you got to saw a little bit of the potential of what they have. And then, of course, this is still preseason. We see a skeleton of what can become a really good team. Saints Gaming sadly lost, but it's all good.
Yeah, I think we saw a lot of good things from both teams. We saw in game 1, University of Toronto, Mississauga taking over the first game, and then we saw in game 2 as well, kind of a flip, and St. Clair took over that game as well. So we saw good things, we saw bad things, I think, from both teams.
Yeah, we saw a lot of amazing things, and yeah, I was just going to repeat what you said. Yeah, we saw a skeleton of what can become a really good team from what we've seen out of honestly both of these teams.
Yeah.
Because in game 2 they stomped. Saints Gaming stomped.
And you got to remember that this is the first week that these guys are playing in a real game. This is preseason. So there's so much potential. We talked about earlier how the synergy between the jungle and the solo laners was exactly that well. The bot lane's doing well, which is really good. The fact that they're doing that well this early is a really good sign. I think there's a lot of potential.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that now is our best time to sign off. So on the screen right down below, you can see our Twitter links if you guys want to follow us on there. But